So what's happening here in Canada in terms of our development of iron as a material for use in our culture? DeFasco and Stelco in Hamilton start 1910, 1911. And they grew into the huge giants that they were at one point here in Canada. Hamilton starts having metalworking industry in about 1835, but what they have there are foundries for casting cast iron. So a foundry is not a place where they make iron, but they take those iron pigs and melt them down and then pour them out into sand to make fry pans and stoves and all the rest of that stuff. Hamilton was chosen for its transport, not for its raw materials, because in fact none of the materials they needed for those industries are available in that part of Ontario. The furnaces in Hamilton were fired by coal, which, surprise, surprise, there isn't any at least in southern Ontario. I don't think there's any in Ontario at all. So that had to be brought in from outside, as there's no iron ore around here either. So the iron had to come in from outside. Again, going backwards in time, those of us familiar with the history of Owen Sound, 1863, Kennedy and Sons set up as a foundry. So again, they're casting parts, primarily marine parts for ships. There was a big shipbuilding industry in Owen Sound back in that time period. Owen Sound was chosen for its availability for lake transport, because again, there's no coal and there's no iron ore. Kennedy and Sons closed in 86. In terms of actually making iron, the next kind of historic going backwards in time would have been the area around Marmora, Ontario, where originally there had been some bog iron ore in the bottom end of the Shield country. The problem with bog iron ore, there's never much of it in one spot. Because of the process of the leaching and the bacteria, it's a renewable resource. So if you harvest all the bog ore, you come back 25, 30 years, there's more there. That's okay if you got a village. It's not so good if you're trying to run an industry. So there's actually rock-type ores in that area as well. They were industry set up there about 1822, and it went through to about 1878 when they used up all the material available, all the ore materials. And it was chosen primarily because there was ore available there and really, really good water power. You have to remember that anything before about 1820 is absolutely powered by water. Steam doesn't come in, the War of 1812. They're using a type of ore called magnetite. It's called magnetite because it's magnetic. And there's a sample here on the table of that as well. The next industry that was set up in Ontario, going backwards in history, 1816, was a place called Normandale, the north shore of Lake Superior. And it was chosen as a site not because of the water power, but because it had available bog iron ore naturally down in that area of the country. Really, really great idea. They're using charcoal for their fuel still here. But the problem is the farmers came and they cut down the trees and they drained all the swamps so they could farm them. When they did that, there was no more bog ore being made. So they used up all the available ore there and the industry collapsed. So it was a real going concern in the early 1800s there, but it was gone by the middle of the century. That's a big piece of slag, by the way. That's a big piece of that waste product. The first commercial iron processing in terms of making bars in Ontario is a place that's now called Lyndhurst. It used to be called Furnace Falls. And this is a bit of an interesting story. They had a contract to provide iron bars for the British Navy out of Kingston. The guy who set up that plant, and there was a blast furnace on one side of the river and a bloomery furnace on the opposite side of the river, was an American, and suspiciously, right around 1811, which the date should spark your interest. Both furnaces on both sides of the river the same night burned to the ground. Okay. Again, that site was chosen because the water power was available and there was a local bog ore. And I've got a little piece of blast iron slag from that furnace on the table. Kelly and I did some help with some archaeology there a couple of years ago. The first really large commercial operation in Canada is a place outside Trois-Rivières called Forces Ste-Marie. And it was operated as early as the middle part of the 1600s in Quebec. And again, there's a natural kind of bog ore source in that area, available water power, and they were running a Bloomery furnace and a blast furnace. Eventually, the new technology, the finery was brought in. They shut down the Bloomery. They were making all cast and decarbonizing it to make bar. So this would have been the source of local ore for military equipment during, for example, the French-Indian War, right, in the middle part of the 1700s. And then the next thing in history, or the earliest thing that happens in history, is at Meadows, Newfoundland, by the Norse, sometime around the year 1000. Between that and probably about 1025, just been redated. They made a small furnace, they fired it once, and they did a real horrible job. So there had been, I just finished writing a paper about this, actually, reanalyzing this site. And my opinion is this was an attempt to test a material that was available to them. Greenland was a colony after the late 900s, but there's no trees in Greenland. Because there's no trees, even though you've got ore, you can't make iron there. And over the 400-year life of the Greenland colony by the Scandinavians, the main thing they brought in from outside was iron bars. So they never really settled in northern Newfoundland.